should say. This the first live stream. A little bit nervous, so bear with me. First time ever doing this. Something different. All my, videos are usually pre-recorded. But and I got you guys pulled up on my phone just in case I need to interact with anybody in the chat. But for those who join, I appreciate your presence. It's truly a blessing. I am truly grateful. So with no further ado, I'm gonna cue the music, and we could just get into the meat and potatoes of thing, man. So yeah. So first part of the show, we got Detroit judge taken off the bench. I'm curious to get you guys' perspective while I give my insight, commentary, and perspective as usual. And with no further ado, family, let's get straight into the video. Hold up, family. 1 second. Make sure the music cute. All right.
Decision to put a 15-year-old is off the bench. A judge in Detroit is off the bench after standing by his decision to put a 15-year-old girl in handcuffs.
Okay, so check this out. That girl was on a field trip to his courtroom.
You fall asleep in my courtroom one more time, I'm putting you in the back, understood? One thing you'll learn about my courtroom is that I am not a toy. I'm not to be played with.
The teen was with a nonprofit summer program. That is Judge Kenneth King. He removed her from his courtroom, then ordered her to put on a jail uniform and handcuffs, and didn't stop there.
I'm thinking maybe she needs to go to the juvenile detention facility. You do understand that we have a jail for kids.
Now, I do believe right here, family, he was power tripping. And power tripping, just to put it in context, my man just basically had a power in a position that he very, very greatly leveraged to his best of the ability, basically overexerting his power from the position that he's in as a judge, and it being kids, and I get that he's trying to be impactful, but I'm going to look at it from two sides of the spectrum because I'm not here to be biased about anyone or towards anyone in this situation. But right here, this definitely displayed him ego tripping. Let's continue.
So do I have any reservations? Do I think I was heavy-handed in what I did? No, I don't, because I'll do whatever it needs to be done to reach these kids and make sure that they don't end up in front of me. So that was my own version of scared straight.
Again, her crime was falling asleep. The teen's mother says the judge was way out of line. She says she's a struggling single mom and her family is moving from place to place, and she thought the summer program would be a good distraction for her daughter. Instead, her daughter is traumatized.
You sleep at home in your bed, not in court.
So the fact that he was talking about you go home and get in your bed, how do you know my baby got a home? How do you know my baby got a bed, her own bed that she can sleep in? She don't have that right now. So she was hired to belittle her in front of the whole world and her friends to make her even feel more worse about our situation. I'm a single mother. I'm trying my best. I'm doing everything that I can.
The district's chief judge says Judge King is being removed from his docket so he can undergo sensitivity training. Judge King had said he reached out to the teen's family and offered to mentor the 15-year-old. Her mother refused.
I want to buy your house.
So with that
I
being
can pay you
said,
cash
family,
for your...
let me pause that and cue that real quick. So with that being said, I'm curious to get you guys insight, but I did take a little bit of notes on it, and I just feel like seeing it from both perspectives, I could see the judge being immune to, dealing with knuckleheads all day, monsters, monsters as in individuals who react in a malicious, nonchalant way, or nonchalant individuals, cold-hearted rugrats, so to say. But that don't care. But I also can see him trying to have his version of scare straight. So he takes his program very serious, and he wanted her to take the program very serious to impact the youth, which was, I feel like that was his motive and the whole purpose of it in the first place. So the youth do not end up in the juvenile system. But the judge, obviously not knowing her directly and not knowing her background and her whole family dynamic, because I'm sure he didn't dive into all that. So he didn't realize that she didn't have a bed. You know what I'm saying? And she didn't have stable living to sleep comfortably. So she was tired. So I definitely agree that he was wrong. And there was a big misunderstandings that took place, especially from him being a role model and him being an elder and standing in a position of power like that. And that's why I say he's ego tripping. However, there was a big misunderstanding there again. And but in turn, the young woman or the young lady, the child who was unfortunately traumatized, she does have this visibility. And in turn, I did see that the judge was willing to mentor her on top of the sensitivity program that he's going to be incorporated and involved in to brush up on his skills of sensitivity. But positively, it should be a great thing if he's willing to be her mentor, and that can open up a lot of doors and, in a positive way. Looking at it from both sides of the spectrum. I'm not here to make it a big thing. I mean, I've been seeing this whole situation go viral. So yeah, comment down below any of you guys' perspectives. I'm curious. But next story we got here, we got Mayor Adams, or Mayor Eric Adams, I should say. So the Fed subpoena New York Mayor Eric Adams. With no further ado, fam, let's get straight into that video. 1 second. Because Mayor, I can't never get this man name right. Mayor Eric Adams, he been quiet for a while now. And usually in the news and, and boasting about things and, helping the migrants and the illegal migrants, to be more exact. But let's go.
A federal corruption investigation into Mayor Adams' 2021 campaign now closing in on the mayor himself. Prosecutors in the Southern District of New York serving him with a subpoena to hand over potential evidence in their case.
By requiring the documents, text messages, and other type of communications from the mayor himself, this shows that they are getting closer to building the case around the mayor.
Ken Gray is a retired FBI special agent.
You're trying to show what the mayor received and what the mayor provided in exchange for that.
The political probe partially stems from the opening of a new Turkish consulate in Manhattan. It's been alleged that Adams or those close to him urged FDNY inspectors to greenlight its occupancy, an alleged quid pro quo dating back nearly 3 years.
Whether or not the mayor actually received anything from the Turkish government as far as campaign contributions, which would be foreign contributions, would be illegal.
2 women close to the mayor already had their homes raided by the feds, and Adams has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing.
We don't, do quid pro quo. We follow the law. Whatever the reviewers are looking for, we are fully cooperating with it. And my role is to allow them to do their job without interference.
Thursday night, his camp.
His role is to allow them to do their job. They're going to do their job regardless, man. Let's be honest here. And to have the feds on you, it got to be a big case. It got to be something they already know to even initiate that investigation. You know what I mean?
Payne attorney said in a statement they've been doing their own investigation and that they've, quote, not identified any evidence of illegal conduct by the mayor.
Well, not identify any evidence of a legal document by the mayor. But the feds lurking, make it make sense. I just feel like that doesn't make sense to say, but I get it. They're trying to sustain image and maintain face and also maintain the trust within the people in New York City. But homes getting raided, it seems like feds already closing in on them. And plus Eric Adams, like I mentioned before, he's been very quiet for a while, for a minute. So obviously, you're going to have to take accountability, brother.
Saying, quote, to the contrary, we have identified extensive evidence undermining the reported theories. The mayor now going head-to-head with the FBI and several potential mayoral challengers.
Approval ratings are not great, and they've never been that great. And this certainly isn't going to help with any of that. In fact, things the voters in New York really care about are not going the way Eric Adams needs him to go to win re-election. That's a much bigger threat to his re-election bid.
And again, no charges have been filed in connection to this case. Deputy Mayor Fabian Levy tells me tonight that Adams will continue to cooperate with this investigation, which he hopes will lead to a quick end to the probe. So far, there's no timeline for this investigation.
Interesting. Interesting. Curious to get you guys' thoughts on that, man. Don't look too good for Mayor Eric Adams. But we have another segment of the show. So we got Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in the building, man. They want to apparently talk about tacos and music. And, you know. And they're in Michigan, Detroit. But I do have some notes here. Just to hone in on a couple points and viewpoints. But with no further ado, let's get straight into the video.
Tacos and
what is
like
that?
black,
Like mayonnaise and tuna? What are you doing?
pretty much ground beef and cheese.
That's
and,
okay. Do you put any flavor in it?
No.
Oh.
Here's the deal. No, they said to be careful and let her know this, that black pepper is the top of the spice level in Minnesota.
Mayor Adams is speaking out after he was issued a grand jury subpoena and an ongoing federal investigation into his 2021 run for mayor. And Morgan Mackay is live outside City Hall, where a news conference wrapped up just a short time ago. Morgan, what's the very latest on this?
Well, one of the big questions right now, Bianca Natasha, is if these...
Not that. Sorry, family. Thought I closed that browser. Anyway, let me backtrack because I sort of probably confused you guys. But let me backtrack up to these guys over here, Tim Walz and Kamala Harris. So apparently at the beginning, just to sum it up before actually I'm going to rewind it so you guys can see and watch it with me again. You can already see the skit at the beginning of the video right
What
here.
is that? Like mayonnaise and tuna? What are you doing?
Pretty much ground beef and cheese.
That's
and,
okay. Do you put any flavor in it?
No.
Oh.
Here's the deal. No, they said to be careful and let her know.
So this skit right here is basically a black and white, like a stereotypical thing, right? You know, because they usually say, like, for example, white people don't cook with flavor, and, you know, black people use a lot of seasoning. So they basically try to use this seasoning skit to somewhat initiate stereotype games. I'm starting to see the game here. This is the game it looked like to me that they're playing. And to be honest, we don't care about their tacos as American people. And I just feel like they're playing in our face. Like, y'all content creators now? Because at the end of the day, the future of America and the direction and the trajectory that it's going in is at stake. So we're sitting here talking about tacos and having skits as content creators. I don't really see how is that valuable to the American people. But let's continue.
Know this, that black pepper is the top of the spice level in Minnesota, you know?
I'm the first vice president, I believe, who has ever grown chili peppers.
Well, trying to expand my my food knowledge.
You know what? We've got some cantaloupes. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I called you,
I was hoping
Tim.
maybe we wouldn't have to.
I called you, Tim.
Yes.
You didn't answer, Tim.
I know.
What happened?
The most important call of my life. It popped up, and we didn't recognize the caller ID, and it went to voicemail.
Hi, this is Jim. I'm not able to answer.
There you go.
It's possible. Thank you.
Hey, Tim, it's Kamala. I really want to talk to you.
It is an amazing privilege for me. Also, I'm excited. I just want to be part of the excitement that you're generating.
Well, we're doing it together, buddy.
It's fun.
We're doing it together. How have these last couple of days been for you?
We're doing it together, buddy. We're doing it together. Let me skip ahead because there's a bunch of nonsense.
I can see where the energy comes. America is a hopeful country.
Indeed.
People are excited.
In every one of those.
People are excited. I don't think so. Excitement where? Inflation is at an all-time high. They say it went down 3%. It was at 20%. They say it went down 3%. But I don't really see inflation being high and prices skyrocketed and people are robbing Peter to pay Paul or struggling to pay their bills. Is excitement? Yeah, don't sound like excitement to me.
Groups of thousands, sometimes over 10,000 people. You've seen exactly who we are as America.
Yeah.
People from rural areas, urban areas, of every stripe and size and background. This is who we are as America, and we're all in it together.
Yeah.
And in this campaign, the only way we win is to keep the pedal to the metal.
This remind me of the Barack Obama campaign. Oh, America's so hopeful. Da-da-da-da-da. Bro, where's the policy? I want to know the policy in this conversation here.
For these next many, many days that we have. So, Tim, what's your relationship to music?
Yeah. For me, the transfer.
I'm skipping that. Sorry, family. Because I do have notated notes here, and we don't really care about their taste of music. Because okay, I'll just play it. Forget it.
Informational piece of music was Bruce Springsteen's The River,
Okay.
which is a journey. You know all the tracks,
Yeah.
and I'm that guy. My first car, it's the summer 1980, been saving up. I buy a 1973 orange Chevy Camaro, got an 8-track player in it.
Oh, wow.
Previous owner left Bob Seger's Night Moves in there. I listened to it, and it's kind of the soundtrack of my life of Detroit's own Bob Seger. But what's really great about this is I have a 79 International as my car. It's got an 8-track player in it. I have the very 8-track to this day.
You're kidding me.
No, but how about you?
I grew up, so all these albums here, I mean, Aretha. My mother had every Aretha album, and like our Christmas gift to my mother, her birthday gift was always like, what's the latest Aretha Franklin record?
So it's on vinyl in your house as a background.
All of it. Wow. All that and Stevie. And then Miles, and my dad loved jazz, and so it was Miles, it was Coltrane. One of my personal favorite musicians for when I was younger was Prince. Oh. And of course from your estate.
Yeah.
And he, in fact, I'll tell you, so my husband Doug and I'm more of a hip hop girl.
Yep.
He's more of Depeche Mode.
Oh yeah, about the same time.
Yeah, I'm sure you and
no,
you
of
like
course.
the same music.
Of course.
But Prince, in the Venn diagram of things, Prince, he and I love the same. Because talk about how Prince was with that guitar, man. I almost know by heart every one of those songs.
I feel like a trip to Paisley Park is going to happen here if the staff
It's on my bucket list. I'll tell you that. Tell me about your dad and his influence on you.
Yeah.
He served our country. You have served for our country for so many years.
Yeah. I was 19. My little brother, I think, was 8 or 9 when he passed. He was a chain smoker. Just addicted. They got it, but Korean War era, and that generation of men pretty stoic. After he died, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. She became our rock, and now she had to go out and get work because the medical bills broke her, and Social Security. And Social Security survivor benefits. We're fine pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps. We had no boots. That's the boots.
And it's survival,
we paid
literally.
It back. It is survival. We all paid it back. So programs that are just fundamental to keeping people from dropping into poverty, but to live with dignity. You keep talking about that.
We got to help people get through a hard time. We can't have a country and policies that...
Okay. She said we got to help people get through a hard time. But people, now let's revert back to her previous statement or their previous statement about hope and their excitement of having hope, right? America looks hopeful. But I just mentioned how Americans are having a hard time and their grocery bills. It's hard buying groceries. Groceries is high. And I just mentioned inflation. So her as VP, what has she done right now to utilize her position alongside Biden within the Biden administration that she's affiliated with to do the very things right now as people are having a hard time? Now, and I get the story. I get the background story. Now, we're not even going to talk about Tim Walz with the sketchy military record, right? But it just baffles me that, and you should know the individuals that you're electing in office and your legislators and local legislators, you should know their story. You should know where they came from. You should know their experience. Nothing wrong with it. Because then you can look and see and seek out to see if they're highly credible for that position. But the very thing I'm getting to is You're telling a story, and especially for Kamala, she's telling a story, but what have you been doing in the position that you have? It's on your resume and on your rap sheet as a vice president. I don't understand, what has she done?
That let people fall through the cracks.
Yeah.
I love what you have done with your life. You were coaching a high school football team that was winless.
Yes.
And you came in, and so they were clearly the underdogs.
And
what happened?
Yeah, it's a team, and I had great coaches with me, and we were friends.
Just kidding.
And we buckled down. And look, I was a fairly big school, but nobody wanted to play because they hadn't won. And this group of coaches said, first and foremost, we gotta build the team. We gotta go out and find people. So we invited them in. And I'll be honest, the first 3 years later, those kids won a state championship. That school has won several more since then. After we left, you build culture, you build winning. People want to be a part of it, and that's the excitement. That's the excitement of what it can be.
That's how I feel about our campaign.
Yeah.
Our campaign is the underdog campaign.
Oh yeah.
And with our joy, we also have to understand that we're still up against some forces.
Yes.
That are trying to divide our country. It pains me the kind of division and the stoking of divisions that has taken place, right? And when we can remind people and create a space for everyone to come where they see each other and say,
magic.
Hey, we're all in this together.
It almost feels like everybody's coming out of their house after a blizzard. And
this is what cracks me up, because they're literally talking about divide and making it a black and white thing, when it's not a race war, it's a class war. The middle class is gone, like dissipated. It's only going to be between the hardworking class people, the very poor people, and the wealthy. But like I say, you might as well put the hard-working class people, which is considered the middle class, in the poor category because of how inflation and everything is and the trajectory the country is in, and its current state right now is not good for no American. Me and you are just, we all trying to make it. And it cracks me up because they keep talking about this divide when it comes to race. It's a class war. I'm going to always say it over and over. It's not a race war, it's a class war.
A Minnesota reference, and you shovel out, and then you start talking to your neighbors. How was it the last couple of days or whatever it might be? They're re-energizing, and they're looking for their neighbors. We keep saying, keep talking about the promise of America, and we say, take care of your neighbor.
In the face of a stranger, when you're looking in the face of a stranger, you should see a neighbor, right?
Yeah. I'm about crying on this when you talk about, look, a girl from Oakland, California, and a guy from out in Nebraska on there. And the number of people I watch just kind of nod and break into a smile. This exploiting the differences, it can't last. I talk about it being halftime in America. We're a touchdown down because a lot of folks, it's easier to tear things down. It's easier to divide than it is to build. But once you start that momentum, once we come out and where we're at right now, people want to be part of something that's winning. They want to be part of something that's good, and they want to be part of something that everybody can be a part of. And I kind of like the idea of being a little bit behind.
Well, I'm looking at Coach Walls right now. I'm looking at Coach Walls.
Did you always know you wanted to be an attorney?
My parents met when they were active in the civil rights movement. I grew up around a bunch of people that were, marching and shouting for justice. And some of the heroes of that movement were the lawyers.
When it comes to Kamala, I actually want to know the factual. I actually want to know what is she actually identified as from a factual standpoint? Because nowadays, or I should say, people are choosing to define themselves as what they want to define themselves and remixing it. Is she Indian? I don't even know what she is at this point. You know what I'm saying? Besides running off stereotypes and giving free entertainment and operating a campaign off of emotions and feelings. And she's being an influencer now, you can say, paying influencers while also being a content creator herself. I'm not understanding it here.
Lawyers, Thurgood Marshall, right? They understood how to translate the passion from the streets to the courtrooms of our country. And they believed in the Constitution of the United States and the principles upon which it was founded. And that's where they then, in the courts of America, reminded us of the promise, right? And the ideals of our country, including equality.
But her family owned slaves. Danny, this was so not scripted. So obviously an organic conversation. She is Asian, India, from India. She is not black. Okay, so we're gonna define her as black. Glad to know. Her family owned slaves. Speaks a lot. It speaks a lot because that's definitely different and contrary to what she's identifying herself now, as in being black. So it's sort of confusing, especially as we educate ourselves to be informed voters on what she really identified herself as. But I get it. She's trying to resonate with the people, and now she's trying to make herself be something she's really not. Because she's very and she's Irish also, thanks Butch. But she's very contradicting. And I don't see what she done as a VP anyway. Now she's playing these identity politics, going off of identity politics, favoring with the black culture and the black people, identifying herself as black to gain the black vote. Because me being a black man and being raised in a black family is very so often that, and we're going to get into the next segment, because I don't want to get too far and get ahead of myself, I'm about black men supporting Kamala Harris. And most of them are turning into Republicans. But it has been known in the black culture where your stature of a man is considered weak. Or basically, I should say this. You are considered weak, and your stature of a man as a black man in a black culture is questioned for the simple fact that you don't stand behind a black, strong woman. So I see what trajectory she's going in regards of the identity politics to gain the vote. But I just wanted to know, I think she needs to be more clear and communicate effectively her race. If she's going and really, if she want to tell her story, let's really identify her for who she is instead of trying to remix it to what she's not. If y'all get what I'm saying.
Equality, freedom, right? That's why I went to law school. But the other reason is when I was in high school, my best friend, I learned, was being molested by her stepfather. And when I realized what was happening, I told her, you have to come live with us. I called my mom. You know, I have to tell you, Tim, it was the first time that I realized how not everyone can take their safety for granted.
Yeah.
And what we should all feel is a sense of responsibility to protect people from harm.
Yeah.
So that's why I decided I want to be a prosecutor.
Wow.
And as a prosecutor, I prosecuted homicide cases. I prosecuted a number of different types of cases, but I specialized in child sexual assault cases. And one of the things I did was create a whole unit dedicated to focusing on children who are being abused and to ensure that they have dignity in the process and justice. There's so much work that we still have to do to make sure that.
Question. Me being a parent myself, you know, especially to an autistic child. I have a 4-year-old. I'm 25. Just a little bit about me, just put out there. But she's talking about protecting the children, which I'm all for. But it's also sort of hard to protect the children when you have illegal immigrants coming in from the border that she's responsible for, that she's not protecting. I'm all for immigrants coming in the right way, legally. But as illegals come in that we can't even identify, they don't have a social security number, the violence is at an all-time high. Look at the violence that's taking place in Chicago, New York. You got it. Like, what is you had a whole the thing I'm trying to make is she had a whole team as a prosecutor and so forth, working with law enforcement and protecting the children and about the children. But then as you have these illegal migrants coming into these inner cities are turning to trash. It's turning to trash. So I don't understand how you can be about the kids at one point But then you don't stand in that when you have more power now, being a political person and having the stance that you have and not initiating no type of action as you did as a prosecutor. So your experience as a prosecutor obviously helped you get to where you at now to be vice president. But what have you done since then from being a prosecutor? Nothing that I know of. And that's what mind boggles me, because if she want to tell the story and something she stood for, why is she still not standing for it now? You know, and like I said, cities turning to dump, wars are raging, you know, hate towards the police has been at an all-time high. I mean,
children have a voice.
For me, that's kind of with me. Get in as a teacher. It's about the kids and wherever you teach.
Right.
Once I had my own children, it became so clear to me, and I think it made me a really good teacher.
Yeah.
That child who came through the door was somebody's most special thing in their life.
Absolutely.
Thinking of a parent dressing their little one up and sending them off to school so proud of them, I wanted to come through that door and just lift them up, that sense of service.
And
it's
it's
interesting, two different parts of the country, two different lived experiences, but all coming to that same goal of everybody getting a fair shot.
Well, you know, I have to tell you, Tim, even though you and I grew up in different parts of the country, you remind me of the people I grew up with.
Aww. I still haven't heard nothing about policy. I did recently see that she wanted to give a $6,000 tax credit, but Democrats are known for, and I'm just speaking in regards to being raised in a black family and black culture, which I believe black culture is trash. But they're always looking for handouts in black culture, and in black culture, we are highly known as pro-Democrats. And the Democrats know that they have us, because the Midwest is going to be the way until winning the election. All the cities like New York, Chicago, they're not checking for those. They're not checking for those because they already know in what way the voter turnout is going to be, because those voters already have their minds set up to where they're going to vote a certain way, and they know that. So they don't look for those cities or those states, you know what I mean, that more so automatically already going to vote for Democrat no matter what the circumstance is. But it's just mind-boggling, man.
Hardworking folks.
And then giving money, the $6,000 credit, which I was getting to. First of all, Democrats know, and she knows, since she's identifying herself as black, you give a black person something, and no matter how much you give people, they're not going to be grateful, right? But she thinks giving something, and most black people are in their mind like, oh, vote for Democrats. They help the black people. When really they enable. And then they have programs that they live off of, and they never do the very thing like Tim Watts just mentioned about lacing up their boot scraps, because at the end of the day, they don't take it amongst themselves to America is a land of opportunity, right? But it's hard when you keep giving somebody something and then they rely on that. And there's nothing wrong with government assistance, but government assistance should be used to help yourself to then be able to pour into yourself and invest in yourself as in education, going to school. You should not rely on those government entities. They are to help you. And once you become stable in the help that you're receiving, but you should not rely. And Democrats know as long as they give, especially to black people within black culture, which is trash, they will automatically vote for Democrats. That's my point I'm making.
Plain speaking.
Yeah.
People who know the difference between right and wrong.
Yep.
And care, love thy neighbor in the most authentic and true way.
Yeah.
Those are the folks I grew up with, and I know that's who you are, and I'm so glad we're doing this together.
I'm proud to be with you.
Well, that was painful to watch, but we watched it, family. So there you have it. They interviewed each other. I don't know why, and I took a couple of notes down that I wanted to point out. I see, because I want to acknowledge you guys, and I appreciate you guys who watched me. This is my first live stream ever. Like I say, I'm just being a bit transparent. I'm a little bit nervous, but I wanted to do something different for the first time on the channel. I see Butch saying both her parents were college professors. I doubt she had a rough life. I definitely agree with that. Danny says she was raised in Canada in the Indian community. She did not have a hard life. She has no personal knowledge of African American or American minority struggles. I definitely agree. Danny, exactly. I voted Democrat all my life, but I realized we will never get ahead with a handout. I totally agree. I agree, man. So, with no further ado, so we got the inside support for Kamala Harris among black people. After we just heard those individuals champion themselves, and never talked about policy, and she was just rambling along about support and unity, and you're just like me. I don't understand how that helped the country. I'm confused. And they interviewed each other, and I just wanted to point out, you got two certain, no matter what side of the fence you're on, if you're voting for Trump or if you're voting for Kamala, I just want to point this out because this is a fact. These two, Tim and Kamala, aren't taking on no questions on no networks, really, when it comes to policy and real things happening in America. But J.D. Vance and Trump are doing it unscripted with their little skit like they had at the beginning with Tim and Kamala. They're not doing skits. They're just taking questions head on about policy and questions that inform the American individuals in the current state of America. They're going on networks, local networks, and speaking about it. They've been to the National Black Convention. They've been all around. So you got one campaign, which is Tim and Kamala. You know, their campaign is involved with emotions and feelings and entertainment. They did down in Atlanta with the artists and influencers and paying influencers $1,500. Then you have another campaign, J.D. Vance and Trump, focused on policy and current events. So I just wanted to put that out there, family, just to let that be known. No matter what side of the fence you're on, you know what I'm saying? I'm just stating the facts and stating for what it is and what I'm receiving and taking notes and being an informed voter myself. And I appreciate you guys for educating on me on things that I didn't know. So shout out to Butch. Shout out to Danny. Danny said natives mostly vote Democrat as well, but in my own opinion, what I have seen Democrats have never helped our reservations. Brain filter 50-50, brain filter two parties. Definitely agree. So with no further ado, fam, let's get straight into this video.
More than 40,000 black men gathered for a video call one day after Vice President Harris announced that she would be running for the Democratic presidential nomination. The call lasted 4 hours and raised more than $1.3 million for Harris's campaign. But maybe more importantly, it allowed the group to discuss what her campaign required of them. Data shows black men have been reliably Democratic voters. But one man on the call felt that it was important to highlight a small group of black men who have historically resisted supporting black women seeking positions of power. Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul.
You take care as well, Butch. Blessing to you. I appreciate you for showing your support, man. And I appreciate your sub. Welcome to the family.
Was the one to stand up on that call. And he joins us now to talk more about what was discussed that day. Thank you so much for joining us. So this call followed a Black Women for Kamala Harris phone call, which, you know, I was blown away by the numbers, and then black men did even better, I think. But I'm curious about why you felt it was important to have a gathering like this, a space of all black men to discuss with the candidate, you know, what they needed.
Yeah, well, you know, there are all sorts of issues where black men are disproportionately on the bad end of statistics. And I think there's a sense of excitement for Kamala Harris, and that's why quickly black men were able to gather and raise the type of money that you referenced earlier. However, there's been a concerted effort to undermine the support for Kamala Harris amongst black men with misinformation with regards to her role as a prosecutor and her role as a California Attorney General with regards to the incarceration of Black males, playing on a sensitivity that I think is not unique to Black culture, but the misogyny of a few who are reluctant to support the leadership of a woman. And I want to reiterate, I don't think it's something that's unique to Black culture. I think it's widespread throughout many cultures that some men are reluctant to support a woman, thinking that it weakens their stature as a leader. And I wanted to confront that.
Yeah, your quote, I thought.
So let's read his quote. Sometimes as Black men, we get confused as to what strength is, and sometimes we think that standing behind a Black woman as a leader does not display strength as a Black man or as Black men. This is definitely identity politics, no matter which way you put it. And on top of it, the way I look at it is, so the stature of a man is weakened because there's some Black men that don't vote on identity politics. They don't stay on code, so to say. In particular, Black communities tend to be pro-Democrat. Like I said before, that's the code. And usually when you vote opposite or to the opposing party, then that means you're not on code. And most people in the Black culture and the Black community, I could speak for myself, you're like the black sheep of the family, especially when you go against voting for a Democrat. Because mostly known in the Black culture and Black families, you are supposed to be obedient and you're not supposed to think. You're just supposed to do, right? But they are informed voters. So who cares about the direction is going in based off of policy is way more important than worrying about identity politics. And then based on credentials, right? And when it comes to a president who is negotiating from a business perspective and business-wise for the American people and the country is important. This woman gonna stand in front of Vladimir Putin and be like, oh, we are just the same. That is not gonna do nothing for the American people. You done seen that interview. They're interviewing each other. They're staying away from the media. What is that doing? That's how she's going to negotiate? And then, so I'm not even entertaining men in regards of worrying about if a woman should lead or not. Because I know a lot of men, some men feel like, oh, a woman shouldn't be in a leader power position like this. It only should be men. I'm not entertaining that. The only thing I'm worrying about is credentials. Having the important credentials to be able to occupy the position that's like you working at a job, right? Or you being an employer seeking an employee. You want to make sure that resume, let alone their work history and also what they have done, speak for himself. And then when you interview them, you want to see how they represent themselves and their resume is a reflection of them. We as the American people and being informed voters, which we should be, which I advocate for, we have to look at her credentials, realize who she is, see how she negotiate, see how she display herself, because she's going to be representing us, Americans, and the American people in the country as a whole. And we want someone strong that stands on business, that has morals, that stands on morals, principles, and at the end of the day, do what's right for the American people and have our best interests. And we have to know that. So I say all that to say, and no matter how you put it, for individuals who feel like a man should be leading and not a woman or whatever the case may be, because like I said, my importance is credentials. I'm not going to say a woman shouldn't lead, a man shouldn't lead. But I am going to point this out, family. I want to know you guys' perspective on this. Because I did take note of this, because I worked at UPS for a little bit. Well, yeah, UPS. So even with UPS, right? Some working at UPS for a short period of time, some roles still be quite designated for the men when it comes to lifting heavy packages and packaging. And you see men, for the most part, building heavy cranes and stuff like that. So, and technology aided women to start working in UPS. where I seen them operating the scanner, scanning the little stickies on the boxes. So men do the hardest jobs of all anyway, for the most part. And I'm just want to leave that out there. That's just my opinion. You could comment down below you guys' perspective, because I'm always open to your guys' perspective. We're a family. We're here to have an amazing conversation, right? So there's certain jobs specified for women where I feel as though where in turn they can actually skyrocket and thrive in and be the best version of themselves to prosper. So at the end of the day, I just feel like because a man, and when it comes in his case of identity politics, from Kwame right here, this man that's the Illinois Attorney General that's showing support for Kamala Harris. So if black men don't vote for a strong black woman, that doesn't consider them weak. They're just being more informed in their thinking instead of going with the identity politics or what they should do. And that's the expectation. That just shows where the expectations are as voters is very, very low. So men, at the end of the day, as we all know in the natural state, women look for men to lead anyway. So my question to you guys, family, is do you feel like credentials is important? Do you think a man should just be leading? Or do you feel like it could be man or woman as long as they're doing their job very effectively and representing the best interests of the people? In this case, I'm talking about being a president. Do you feel like a man should just be being a president? Do you feel like a woman could be a president? Or is just a man to be a president? Or they should have the credentials? Because I done seen women work hard, right? In positions that men do, because women have fought with the feminine movement of being equal pay and working jobs just like men. And I seen them all strung out, working at UPS, for example, back to my example, lifting in packages, and then they don't even look like themselves. Their face they look their faces, they look distraught, trying to take on a man's job. When in turn, I think if a man leads, if he has the credential for that position, sometimes men do the very best thing of looking out for the woman to help protect her and help herself for the best interest for her, rather than taking that job she thinks she can do as a strong, independent woman. And it's a lot of backlash from both standards. But the point I'm making here in my stance is credentials, and it shouldn't be voting on identity politics. And that's how I look at it. Because at the end of the day, I'm a gentleman. I'm going to have my woman walking on the inside of the street, not on the outside, because she want to be operating in her masculinity and trying to be a man-woman. You know what I'm saying? And in this case, I'm just saying, going up against these other worldly leaders in other countries, we need, USA always represents strength, right? So Kamala Harris going up to my example of Vladimir Putin, how effectively you think she's going to operate for the best interests of our culture? If we're operating on identity politics, our borders are open, illegals are coming in. You have migrant crime happening in Chicago. You got, I ain't even getting into Mayor Brandon Johnson. He's trying to get rid of the shot spotter with police to help the police and law enforcement. Communities are going in shambles. Kids are not being protected. I could go on, but I just want to know you guys stand. I'm going to read it for a little bit, and then I'm going to continue the video because I know I went on to, elaborate on my point. I just wanted you guys to get my point. Danny, she's not even posted anything about her policies, but she has a bad history. What she says she's going to do, her previous actions say the exact opposite. I agree. Brain Filter, the fall is winning post 2020. Adam Malam, look at the Dems record. They tell us they're going to do all these fabulous things, promises when they get into office, until one thing they're actually done that they say they were going to do. Nothing. That's why we're in shambles now. When Trump was president, and this is a fact, even with COVID and everything, inflation wasn't this high. Man, I go to the grocery store just shopping for me and my son. And, my son, he's a picky eater. He's autistic, nonverbal. And, I try to eat more on the clean side. And, I been working with his feeding therapist and incorporating safe foods. Grocery bills, man. I literally had a family member go get deodorant and literally lotion from Target, man. It was like $40, $30. It's crazy, man. So Danny said, I'm 5'3", I weigh 103 pounds. No way I'm tossing around 75-pound, 50-pound boxes. There are jobs women can't do because this is how it is. However, I can program and run the robots who could toss her. I agree. And that's my point. You know, technology have aided in women to be able to work, you know, alongside men and work in those UPS warehouses. And you know, I just wanted to put that out there because that's notes that I definitely took. So men that aren't standing behind Kamala because of black culture is like, you aren't a man because you don't stand behind Kamala? That's nonsense. You're not a strong black man because you don't stand behind a strong black woman? If anything, they're doing the very thing that they mentioned in the interview with Watts and Kamala. They're talking about unity and this country is divided, but they're dividing it. Well, let's continue.
It was really interesting. You said, you know, sometimes as black men, we get confused as to what strength is. And sometimes we think that standing behind a black woman as a leader does not display strength as black men. I thought that was, I guess that's part of the reason why you want a space like that, to say something like that maybe you wouldn't say in mixed company, for lack of a better phrase.
Absolutely. I'm the father of a 24-year-old black woman who's in law school right now, and I want to encourage her to use that training to reach for the highest heights. And how can I do that if I don't fully support somebody with the type of background and experience as Kamala Harris to achieve the presidency and to be able to one day stand up and call her Madam President? And if I don't fully support that, I, as a black dad to a black a young woman, I'm not doing my job.
Oh,
so let me ask
God.
you this, though. You've seen...
He's considered a simp. And for those who don't know what a simp is, it's basically someone that basically says the thing that women want to hear and doesn't stand on no type of morals, you know, principles or values. Because a lot of times, family, you have to understand, as a man, say, for example, right, a family, right? A wife and a husband. The wife wants to vote for Kamala, but the husband wants to vote for Trump, right? But the wife insists that, no, we're going to vote as a family, and you're going to vote for Kamala because I'm voting for Kamala. Sometimes as men, we have to lead, and at the end of the day, don't let that woman fill out your ballot. And it's always good to get off your thoughts and perspectives and insights at the dining room table, as we always do, as we all do, or have done, and whether we're sitting on a couch or whatever, just having conversations as family members. But the very thing I'm getting to is sometimes, and there's actually families dividing over this, voting for Kamala and not voting for Kamala because the husband voting for Trump and the wife is voting for Kamala, you know, because woman power and femininity and all of that. But sometimes as a man, get your thoughts and insights and perspectives off, because it's always good to have a conversation to know where you guys stand at. But also, as a man, we have to do the very thing. If you're going to vote for Trump, that husband should vote for Trump and not let his wife fill out that ballot just because she want to vote for Kamala, and stand on that. Sometimes the family may not understand the things that you're doing, but as you lead by example and then they see the successes in regards of how you voted or the very things you did for the best interest of the family as a man, when they see how you're prospering or evolving and they see the outcome that was for the very best interest of the family, they'll come along. They just don't understand right then and there. But you do as a man, so you lead by example and you stand on that. You stand on business, you know? And I say all that to say that basically him simping out like this and just saying what the women want to hear as a strong black woman that's standing behind Kamala Harris, which he wants to obviously gain the likelihood or gain the liking of as the attorney general, which he shouldn't be caring about that. He should be caring about policy and the direction that the country is going in. Basically, he's promoting masculinity amongst women. It's being promoted too much. He's simping out. He's saying the thing that women want to hear. And Kamala is saying the thing that women want to hear because she's not talking about nothing but about policy.
some of the polls, right? There's some Pew Research Center reported in April that there's been a slight uptick in black men who identify as Republicans in 2024 compared to 2020. Much has been made of this very minor shift because I guess we haven't seen something like this. It is minor, but why do you think Donald Trump has appeal to some black men beyond, beyond what you suggested, which is perhaps some misogyny?
Well, I think, again, black men through both Democrat and Republican administrations have been on the wrong side of many statistics, whether it's healthcare, incarceration rates, unemployment rates, and it's nothing new. And so
now he's belittling black people. Oh, they've been on the wrong side of, healthcare and statistic-wise, it's nothing new. So now you shaming and belittling the individuals that don't want to vote based on your identity politics? Come on, man, get a grip. For 93 plus years, black people have identified with the Democrat Party that done nothing for them. Make this make sense, man.
I think he strategically senses a vulnerability there that he can attack. He tried to equate himself to the circumstance of black men who have been mistreated by the justice system, yet most black men haven't had the privilege of being able to appoint judges that preside over their criminal cases, that are able to dismiss their criminal cases. And so the notion that he could liken himself to black men who have been mistreated by the justice system is ridiculous, frankly ridiculous. Most black men have not been all black men have not been able to appoint the.
Man, I can't listen to this no more. This is just all personal attacks. This is belittling and shaming the individuals who do not join his Democratic bandwagon. However, family, this was the last segment of the show. I'm just reading, you guys' commentary, 14 viewers. It's my first time ever doing, a live stream. And I just want to inform people, and I feel like this is an important election. And let alone, I want to interact with the people and resonate with the people, man. And this guy right here is a simp, so to say, that if he have any type of individual that don't agree with what he say, because as adults, we can agree to disagree and have conversation and get different perspectives, because I usually don't like people that agree with me, because then I can't gain a different perspective, because it's just you're agreeing with me. But it's also good. It's good to have people agree with you, but I like to be challenged to a certain extent, if you guys get what I mean, family. But this guy, if any black man like me that's saying something very, very adverse to what he's saying, he's going to crash out. And on top of it, he's just going to keep going based on identity politics and nothing factual that's have the best interest of American people, as me being an American person and actually feeling the aftermath of the decisions that the Democratic Party have made so far to why we are where we are. So I'll just read the comments a little bit. So we got Danny saying, don't be a simp, it's not sexy. I totally agree. Because at the end of the day, what woman wants a yes man? A woman wants a man to lead, man. And at the end of the day, me and just how I was raised, I'm going to, at the end of the day, I'll put it like this. Men, if your woman don't look at you under your covering as you protect your family and provide and seeking direction from you as a man, that's a problem. Because that's why most women really want a man to lead, but if they're not seeking a direction for you, then that means to me they got to do it themselves. Because you either simping out or you letting her take hold of things. And it's just, at the end of the day, love is action in relationships. And at the end of the day, having the best interest of someone ain't always going to be popular. And you don't have to identify with this popular culture, because what's right is right and wrong is wrong. Like Kamala said in that interview that she interviewed Tim Watts with, right? So if what's right is right and wrong is wrong, then why are you not taking no accountability for what you done wrong instead of just giving out this free entertainment and sitting here not taking on questions that may be adversely opposite from what you stand? And man, listen, when it comes to this debate, I'm sorry, J.D. Vance and Trump is going to demolish her. And Waltz, I'm telling you, it's no doubt about it. So that's all I got to say about it. And then Danny says, the devil's advocate, take the side of the argument that is not being brought up. If you're hiding behind my skirt, when I'm not letting you. I agree. But I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I don't know, should I do this more often? Should I not? I do like interacting with you guys in the chat. 13 viewers. I mean, I wasn't even expect to get one view on here. I'm highly grateful. I thank you guys for rocking with me. I thank you, Danny, for rocking with me, you know, and having a conversation with me, interacting with me in the chat. And yeah, there's all the segments I had today. I took my little notes on my iPad, and I'm just educating myself as I go. And I would just like to touch on important topics that we all could talk about as family. So how you guys think about that? How you guys thought about the show? Did you guys enjoy, you know, the show, the live stream? Should I do this more often? Let me know down in the chat. You know, let me know down in the chat. I'm curious, you know. But yeah, man, give this video a big thumbs up too, you know. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'm gonna play my little music, and hopefully somebody tell me if they want me to keep doing this or how do they feel about it. If you had to rate it 1 out of 10, give me a 1. Give me from 1 to 10. How do you guys feel I did today? You know, I'm curious. I want to give you guys perspective so I continue to be better. You know, I like the show. It was a good chat. Okay, I appreciate that, Danny. I appreciate your perspective on that. And at the end of the day, I'm gonna close it here. And I hope you guys enjoy. Stay tuned for another episode. You know, I'm gonna try to make this an episode thing. And without further ado, family, thank you for hosting. I like the other opinions and subs, so maybe I could catch you again. For sure. You will. I look forward to it. So with no further ado, family, spread that peace, love, and positivity. And on that note, peace.